we're doing a gravel bike check. We're gonna go for a little ride on one of my local loops. But first I'll run through the bike here and all the components that are on it. And then on the ride we'll get into a little more detail. So starting out, we've got 2022 SCOTT Addict Gravel Tuned. This is a large 56. This is Scott's top of the line, the most advanced gravel bike they've ever made. It's a matte black with white gloss. So you can kind of see this looks similar to the Road Addict, the RC Pro, which I also have. There's a bike check if you want to check that one out. The difference is this thing is set up as a monster truck. Super fast, aggressive gravel bike. And it's taken a lot from the road bike. You can see the frame, the dropped seat stays. The handlebar is very similar too. This is the Creston IC SLX bar. The X is for off-road, has a 16mm flare, nice and stable. Another difference is it's got a recess here, so it's a little narrower. You can put 3mm bar tape or as thick as you want to go, and doesn't fill up your hands. So very smart thinking there by Scott. On the front of the handlebar here, we have the Syncros mount, which holds the Hammerhead Karoo 2. Scott has kitted this out with a SRAM red axis group set. 4633 on the front and 1036 on the back. This also comes with the power meter on the tuned version. We've got SRAM red hydraulic brakes, of course, 160mm front and rear. There is actually room for a 180mm disc on the front, and you can go down to 140 on the back if you're trying to save weight or have extra power. On this crank set, we've got Time Attack 4 pedals. For the wheel set, the bike comes with the DT Swiss GRC 1100 die cut. These are actually OEM specifically made for this tuned version of the bike. It's an extra touch you get with the tuned model. They have the die-cut 180 hubs, top of the line there again with the ceramic bearings, and they're 24mm internal widths with a 40mm depth. Nice aero advantage there. And they blow out these tires, which are the Maxxis Ramblers. I have a 50 on the front and a 45 on the back. This frame set says it's up to 45mm, but 50 fits comfortably, and you could probably put a 50 on the back, but I prefer a little narrower just to keep the weight down and the speed up. For the saddle, we have a Physique Argo Adaptive, brand new from Physique, the 3D printed saddle. Really enjoying it. Short nose, 150mm wide, and really nice and cushy for all the vibrations you get off-road. Underneath the seat, we have the Syncros Duncan SL Aero carbon seat post, 1-bolt attachment for the saddle, nice and easy to use. And under the saddle, we also have the Skin Grows Back Plan B saddlebag. Alrighty guys, that's the basics of what's on this bike. We're gonna head out and do the backbone loop now, and we'll get into the details of why I like what's on this bike and how it performs. Let's go for a ride. Welcome to the ride section of our video. We're here, we're gonna do a backbone loop, which means we're gonna do a big climb up to Mulholland, and then eventually we'll head west and then down the backbone, which is a pretty gnarly single track. I'm sure like most of you, you've got to do at least a bit of riding on tarmac to get to the dirt. So this is where we are at the moment. We just climbed through the neighborhood and we've got about a 5-mile climb to the top here. I've got my Addict Gravel Tuned, as you know, and Alex, who's helping me film this today, he's on the Addict Gravel 10, so you guys should check that out too. Really beautiful bike. And yeah, it's cool that we both get to ride the new Addict Gravels and put this together for you guys. Let's go. All of my rides really start with a big climb and about 15-20 minutes of tarmac. I really like these Maxxis Ramblers for the tarmac. Obviously they're a big tire, 50 on the front and a 45 on the back, but they have a nice round profile. You know, some gravel tires have really aggressive side tread. I'm more about the volume for grip, and I like the corner with a round profile, especially on tarmac. Very unsettling when you've got an aggressive knob on the side and a smooth section in the middle. Maybe a little bit of a weight penalty with the bigger tires, but I find they just roll so much better once it gets a little rougher. I really like how this bike handles out of the saddle. It's definitely feels like the Road Addict. It's a lot of power transfer through the rear. The front end's nice and stable too when you got a lot of weight on there standing up. And yeah, it just accelerates really fast. Feels like a road bike when you want it to be like a road bike. So we made it up the big climb of the day. This is our one and only water stop. And it's a good time to talk about the cages on here. So there's 2 cages up here like most bikes. And then down below there's also a space for a 3rd bottle cage, which is handy if you guys want to check out our Forgotten Road series. We packed the bikes up, more like a bike packing setup with the 3rd bottle cage on there. And there's also some fender mounts here, which is handy if you ride a lot in the mud. And also the top 2 bolts. On the top tube you can put a little feed bag there, which I also did in the Forgotten Road series, so go check that out. And yeah, plenty of capability. It's more of a race machine this, but there's definitely a good bit of extra holes for plugging stuff in, fenders, bags, and an extra cage. Alright, so we're up on the ridge now. Big climb behind us, filled up with water. And I want to just chat about how this bike handles and how much faster it is than a mountain bike in so many situations. I feel like a lot of people still don't really get how much faster this is. And on roads like this, when you're on the flat gravel and when we're doing the big climbs, this bike is just effortless compared to anything else, you know. Road bike is lighter, yes, but you just lose so much traction, you get rattled around. A mountain bike, it's great, it's comfortable, it handles the descents well, but you lose so much time on the climbs, and especially on these flat sections. Being in this aero position, it's just amazing. You just go so fast. I ride the same routes back to back, one day on a mountain bike, the next day on the gravel, and yeah, you absolutely feel like you're flying when you get back on the gravel bike. So we spoke about how fast and aero this bike is on the climbs and on the flat. But if you're going on smooth descents too, like this one behind me here, it's as fast, if not faster, than a mountain bike. Really, it comes down to the user at the end of the day when you start descending, how fast you can go, how fast you're comfortable going. But because you're aero, because you've got the faster rolling tires, this thing really takes off down hills too. So, gone from really fast descents to a nice double-digit climb. This is a climb to the hub. We're getting ever closer to the backbone. And this is a good time to chat about the gears on here. I've got the SRAM Red Axis, and it is a 46-33 up front with a 10 to 36. I guess Scott heard me complaining in the last bike check that the 33 wasn't big enough on the back. So we've got the nice 33, 36, which I'm in right now for this climb. And another great thing about this bike is that it's really lightweight, you know. It looks well built, super solid, but it's also a light bike. This bike comes in, I weighed it last night, at 8.3 kilos. That's with the tires on, full of sealant, the big tires, tire liners, pedals. Yeah, so I think you can get this bike down to 8 pretty easily if you wanted to go a really lightweight setup. And then with the tuned one, it is about half a kilo lighter than the Gravel 10, which is a light bike in its own right. But yeah, this is the top of the line, so they really cut down weight where they could. Group set, handlebar, and also the frame itself is actually lighter. This is a sub-kilo frame, and the fork is under 400 grams. Wouldn't want to go, I mean, it's always great to go lighter, but the way we're going to be hammering down the backbone today, you'll see you really want a strong bike. So they've got a great blend of a lightweight race bike that can take a beating. Whew. Let's get to it. Keep moving. Alrighty, we finally made it to the top of the backbone. This is kind of what the whole ride's been leading up to. This is a really fun trail. It is pretty exciting on a gravel bike, but I wanted to show how much of a beating this bike can take. I've been reading some comments online. People aren't really sure how hard you can push these bikes, gravel bikes in general, and also these kind of aero, fast-looking ones. So we'll definitely get a lot of that on the way down here. But first up, it's kind of mellow and flat, and it's actually a really fun, pleasant trail with a lot of overhang, and it's really fast on a gravel bike too, that flat section. Let's get into it, Alex. top section of the backbone, nice, flowy and fast. Really like the way the front end of this bike handles. Very confidence inspiring. It's not twitchy, but it does go where you want it to without feeling sluggish. And the speed really picks up here. Nice and high. Oh wow! Just about held the back wheel on there. Woo! Very bumpy and loose. Woo! Took a wall right out of there. So yeah, I think the pictures tell the story there. No doubt about it, this bike really handles rocky, gnarly descents at top speed. It's pretty terrifying even for me, but you guys know how I like to ride. And I definitely need a bike that can handle that kind of stuff on a daily basis. This bike's got a bit of a longer rake on the fork, bit of a longer reach and a short stem. It's only 103 millimeters. And that really gives it a nice, stable feeling. You never feel like you're going to be over the bars or you're too far forward over the front hub, which helps a lot with confidence when you're bombing down hills and doing drop-offs. And then having this 50 and 45 mil tire, including the Victoria airliner, which protects the rim, lets me run nice low pressure. I'm at about 25 on the front and just under 30 on the back. So that's pretty low, but you know, really soaks up bumps and gives you a bit more cornering grip too. Yeah, just amazing bike that, you know, anything that you can do on a hardtail mountain bike, I'm confident coming down. Obviously you got to pick a bit of a smarter line, maybe knock off a bit of speed, but if you can do it on a hardtail, you can do it on a gravel bike too. Solid bike, great frame, and you know, for an 8.3 kilogram bike to be able to fly down a rocky descent like this is pretty special. Finally out of the heart attack stuff. That was the big last sketchy drop in. We're here on the bridge. It's all about to get smoothed out as we head back into the city. I want to mention a couple more things that smooth out the ride. This Physique adaptive saddle makes a big difference. It's really great at absorbing all the shocks. The Skin Grows Back saddlebag, you know, I don't have to worry about that on crazy loops like this. That thing's locked on there. And there's a good chance you might nick a sidewall and need it, so yeah, I always carry that with me. While we're stopped here, I just want to take a moment to talk about the paint on this gravel lineup. Obviously I've got the Tuned. That's the matte black and gloss white with a bit of silver streak in there. A bit understated, quite classy looking. And then down to the 10, which Alex has, that's a really cool matte paint job with a very interesting kind of blue-green. The 20 has a kind of purple champagne high gloss. And then we'll pull up some footage of the 30, which I've been riding before this, which is an awesome clear coat, kind of you can see the raw carbon, and it's a nice dark green. So Scott's just killed it on every single bike. Let's cruise out of here. Cooked. That was a lot of fun. Thanks, Alex, for coming along, carrying that backpack and camera. I hope you guys had a great time. We just certainly did. Gravel bikes are just a whole lot of fun. Alex and I have been on so many adventures together. Really kind of forged a strong friendship through the gravel bike in a way. If you got any questions about the bike or about gravel in general, hit me up in the comments. I'll go through them the first couple of days, maybe weeks. Yeah, and I'll see you guys later.